Upside, inside out. Welcome back to Bizarre Podcast Dogs Must Die. My name is Grant. You can call him Chip. And we are talking about episodes 12 and 13 of the anime adaptation, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Diamond is Unbreakable.
So last time we chopped a two-parter in half, which worked out pretty okay for Koichi's thing. Maybe not so much for this one. So yeah, it's everyone where we left them. Chili Pepper is racing to the docks where Joseph Joestar is arriving soon, Old Man Joseph, and everyone else is trying to defend Joseph. They're also at the pier now.
Yes, our first shot is of the ship sailing ahead, and Jotaro says that the old man's ship is right on schedule. And as the camera pulls out, we see that we're not actually looking at the ship. We're looking at the reflection of the ship in Star Platinum's super precise eyeballs.
Yeah, at first I thought they were binoculars, but
no,
it's just Star Platinum's eyeballs.
If you gave Star Platinum binoculars, he could see the Voyager probe exiting the solar system.
Yeah. Everyone is devising a plan on how to best defend Joseph. They've got a little boat nearby, a little speedboat.
Their plans do not involve, like, calling on a cell phone or waving semaphore flags, somehow telling the ship captain, ambush awaits you.
You'd think the Speedwagon Foundation at this point would have, like, a really complex system for every like possible stand attack. I just want to know, after Dio was defeated and all that business was put down, did they not deal with any other stand users until now? There's got to be like just random stragglers, right?
Just have Echoes like write some sort of giant warning on the side of the giant lighthouse on the end of this pier.
Oh yeah, I wonder how big and loud of a sound effect Echoes can make. Is there a limit there?
Big enough to collapse the lighthouse on the end of the pier.
Oh god. Okuyasu and Josuke are checking out the speedboat. They have determined that Chili Pepper is not hiding anywhere within the electronics of this boat or the battery or anything like that. And so one of them is going to drive out to the boat, and it's only going to be Okuyasu. He's going to be like last line of defense on the boat with Joseph.
Well, no, he's going with Jotaro.
Oh, right,
this is Jotaro's plan, because he is afraid that, Chili Pepper is going to find some way to get on the boat before them.
Right, that's right.
The most fiendish plan of all, just a car battery in a trebuchet, just like fling it.
Yeah.
Josuke really wants to go. He like, this is his fight. He's the hero. He's got to go take it to him. But Jotaro's like, no, you stay.
Yeah.
You got to find the user. We, me and your big brutish friend are going to go on the boat because we're like short range punchy guys. We're going to go to the confined space. The smarty team is going to do the investigation here on land.
Yeah. So it's Josuke and Koichi staying on the dock here because Jotaro believes that Chili Pepper isn't going to hitch a ride on the speedboat or anything. He just thinks, well, he's probably going to a toy shop to buy an RC plane, and he'll just ride out the plane over to the ship.
I bet Okuyasu would fly remote-controlled planes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, he flies them, but he sucks at doing them, so he's constantly crashing and breaking them, which is great. Which means it's great to have Josuke as a friend.
Yeah, absolutely. He saves so much money these days.
Yeah. So, yeah, the team splits up, and we see a Speedwagon guy talking to Joseph. And this is the first time we actually get to hear him talk in part 4.
Yes.
And same voice actor.
His hand and his memory are equally creaky.
Yeah.
He asks for where his cane is, and like his robot hand is just making real like rusty, chunky, squeaky noises. His Speedwagon attendant is like, sir, your cane is like in your hand. It's like right there.
Yeah. like from the very first scene, it's clear that Joseph is getting a little senile now. He still looks pretty huge for an old man.
Yes.
He's just hunched over.
His eyes are still bright behind his tiny little glasses.
Yeah. His teeny tiny glasses.
But the rest of his face has like sagged and fallen. And yeah.
And I believe he's 79 now, which...
He is 79 years old.
Which tells me that he just stopped practicing Hamon the instant Dio was done with. Because Straizo looked great into his, like, what?
Well, he was a vampire. It was a hint.
Well, okay, yeah. I mean, he did get younger when he became a vampire, but he still looked fairly young for his age, even before he became a vampire at the start of part 2. Either way, yeah, we cut back to the dock, and hey, Chili Pepper's user is here. He just walks out right in front of everybody, not hiding at all. And he's dumb.
He's very grumpy that his plane plan was sussed out.
Yeah.
So his look, basically, what if hair rockers looked cool?
Yeah.
He's got like the full like spandex bodysuit underneath a formal jacket, both of which are covered in X and O studs.
Yeah.
And he's got metal cuff decorations. I guess on one side is AC, the other DC, because he's both into 80s rock and electricity, you see.
I see. Yeah, long purple hair. So he just has a guitar with him, and he establishes that he always has this guitar with him, this electric guitar.
An electric guitar with a cable that I don't know where it's going. It just disappears under, his coat and never comes out anywhere. I guess he's got like a portable amp tucked to his belt. He doesn't have a belt. It's a fucking spandex bodysuit.
I wish he just plugged it into his stand. His stand would be his amp.
So yeah, he comes out, he interrupts Josuke feeling his feelings, his decision to like put aside his parentage and just treat Joseph as any other person in need of protection and compassion. Not going to let it be personal so he can keep his head in the game. And then, I'm the stand user.
Yeah, he is immediately shredding. Half the scenes he's in this episode, he's shredding.
And he brings out his toy remote control plane. It is a Spitfire, of course, the pride of the RAF in World War II, an appropriate plane to kill Joseph Joestar with.
I didn't even think about what make and model that plane was.
And his name is Akira Otoishi. He is 19 years old, and he is holding a G major chord, if I remember my middle school lessons correctly.
Yes, I believe that's right. So this guy, he's pretty confident that he can kill both Josuke and Koichi in about 3 minutes, because he establishes, like, this guy's a dumbass, but he does know the general top speed of the speedboat, of the ship Joseph is on, and the speed of his RC plane, and that if he can kill these two guys in 3 minutes, he will have enough time to overtake the speedboat Jotaro and Okuyasu are on, and kill Joseph before anyone else can get to him.
And so he spends that entire 3 minutes talking about how he idolizes Jimi Hendrix, who is now experiencing his first JoJo reference, I think?
I think so.
And Jeff Beck, who of course is the namesake for Wired Beck. So welcome back to the program.
Oh, Wired Beck, my favorite.
And and all of his rock star dreams that he's going to achieve once people stop trying to nab him for all these murders he's doing to protect his dreams.
It's a bit of a circular thing here. I feel like there is some way this could have never happened, and that is never killing people with your stand.
So if I'm reading this in 1993 and I see this guy with his whole thing coming out, I have to think that either this is Araki predicting that grunge's influence is going to be pretty short-lived.
Yeah.
Or maybe making a point that this dude is, like, as a character, supposed to be really out of step and deluded.
Yeah. Because I've experienced JoJo mainly through the anime, I always forget, like, what era it was actually being written in and how that might be influencing some of these musical references. So Akira sometimes, like, he is standing right next to his stand, but sometimes he just decides to speak through Chili Pepper rather than him just with his mouth, which is pretty funny. You know, he's so confident in being able to take out these two guys. He'll be able to do it with only his pinky. Mm-hmm. And so right as Akira is just like, okay, it's time to fucking fight, Josuke puts up his hand and goes like, whoa, hold up. Let's not fight yet. If you're going to use only your pinky, then I am going to impose a rule as well. And this pisses Akira off. So he like throws his pick at Josuke, which he dodges. And as he's like, hey, this is bullshit.
That deadly piece of vinyl.
Yeah. And Akira's just like, hey, this is fucking bullshit. I'm not going to listen to any of your shit. I don't have to listen to any of your rules. And as he's rambling out about this, he's holding his pinky out the whole time. And so Josuke just walks over there, not even using his stand, and just decks this dude's pinky so it just like twists around 3 times.
That's the pinky on his fret hand. He needs that.
He fucks that pinky up so hard. And so Josuke is just like, well, you said you're going to use only your pinky, and I fucked it up. So now what?
But Akira has a plan for this. He summons all of his anger and his rage in order to, through force of will, bend his pinky back into shape to slam out some power chords.
Yeah.
And he starts doing like a hammer-on technique that is subtitled as guitar tapping in all caps.
Yeah.
Guitar tapping is definitely a throwback in the year 1993. It is not in vogue.
Yeah. And while Akira is doing this guitar tapping, like every time he starts shredding, the background fades out, like a fog machine kicks in, and there are stage lights clearly above him, and sometimes you hear crowds cheering. He's just shredding, he's going nuts. There's like sweat is flying off him as he's like flailing around doing this, and both Josuke and Koichi just stand there and they just go like, whoa, cool.
It's Chili Pepper's secondary ability. He just doesn't use it for crimes.
Yeah. And so after he does this whole shredding thing, he's like back in action. He's fine. His pinky's good to go.
And so this really sets up Akira here as a sort of fitting chapter boss, I guess, for the first third. Because while Josuke heals others through compassion, he heals himself, something Josuke cannot do, by indulging his rage. While he's also a double for Okuyasu through their shared history, shall we say.
Yeah.
And, he's very sound-based. He is an audio character. So there we have his match with Koichi.
Oh, man. I was rewatching these episodes this morning because I've been so busy with work. And so a lot of this stuff passed right over me. So I'm going to say, whoa. So this is the first fight, I think, in quite a while where we're actually just seeing two stands, like, punch each other.
Yeah.
And not just once so that the punch can do something else. It's just like, here are two humanoid-ish stands just punching each other in the face and stuff. Like, there's more to it, but it's the first time we've seen just like a normal-ass fist fight, kind of.
They rush at each other. It's time for a straight-up stand brawl. Again, the likes of which is rather unusual in these parts. And so Koichi Krillin's hardcore.
Oh my god, he's so Krill in this episode.
Especially when Josuke just goes in for a punch and sees that somehow Akira and Chili Pepper wound up behind him, and he's trying to figure out how they move so fast, and it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
This isn't his ability, and Koichi has to explain, you turned around.
Yeah.
You're facing the ocean now. You moved, not them.
God, I haven't seen it in JoJo yet, but I wonder if there's ever gonna be like with Koichi just being Krillin. I'm just like in this fight, I was expecting, the DBZ style thing of someone gets punched super hard or hurt real bad, and there's a ton of smoke, and then when the smoke clears 20 seconds later, he's not there, and he's behind you. And, yeah.
I'm just hoping that this doesn't mean Koichi dies and then becomes a cop.
God. Yeah.
He can marry a robot. I will allow that.
He'll meet another stand like, I can't remember its name, from part 3, the genie wish-granting one.
Yeah, and he wishes for a robot lady?
Yeah, he wishes for a lady much taller than him to fall in love with him, yeah.
He doesn't need to wish. It already happened.
I guess it already happened, but, maybe one that's less crazy. and willing to murder over love. But yeah, it's on the dock where they're fighting here. It's just tiles of big concrete slabs making up this dock, and kind of where each one intersects, each one, the corners of each tile touch, there are these tiny little grates. And underneath all these grates is a ton of power cables to the whole facility and yada yada. And so Chili Pepper is hooked up to a huge amount of electricity, which is making him absurdly fast and powerful.
And is able to just pop in and out of hidden obscurity to take pot shots. Basically, the next stage of the fight is Crazy Diamond getting wrecked at violent whack-a-mole.
Yeah, and even Koichi says, this is like whack-a-mole!
I put it in my notes before you said it. Fuck you, kid. Shut up. Get out of here.
So yeah, the reason why Josuke just turned around and it made it look like Akira had teleported was just, Chili Pepper just popped out from a grate right by Josuke's feet and just grabbed him and just spun him around really fast.
And is just coming up behind him to the side unpredictably with great speed, just taking sucker punches and then disappearing over and over again before Crazy Diamond has the time to react and intercept.
Yeah.
And so now we learn that this entire encounter has taken 1 minute. All the introductions, all the posturing, all the punching.
One of the biggest examples of JoJo time. I think I've said it before, but there are some fights where it's like, oh man, I almost want to go back and make a edit of this where all of the monologuing is taken out, so it's just the fight in real time and see how long that actually takes. With this one, I think it would still be well over a minute, just because of all the shredding.
Now that we've had an example of JoJo fight time, it's time for JoJo serious time. And Josuke calls out to Koichi, we're about to win this, and by now, you should know what I'm thinking. Because much like the spaghetti, Crazy Diamond has been punching, the pavement around the asphalt, not in order to crumble it to dust, but to reform its constituent parts.
Yeah.
He's turned it through his repair abilities into a bunch of tar, which is gumming up the drains so that it takes a lot of time and effort for Chili Pepper to come up through, which is all the warning he needs in order to intercept with the big punching. The big punchings,
yeah. He's telling Koichi to keep an eye out for him. Koichi points out, because the tar is gumming up all these different grates, and there's one where you just see a big air bubble beginning to form in slow motion, and so Koichi just points out, hey, over there, and big punches on that Chili Pepper.
Which brings us to our mid-episode title card. It is Chili Pepper's turn.
It has really good stats, almost the exact same as Star Platinum's, actually. Again, doesn't mean anything, but...
Back in the action, we catch up with the speedboat in transit, and they are getting close to this big yacht. The boat's name is Traffic.
Yep.
Named for the 70s psychedelic rock band, of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Which I think is only mentioned in the Japanese dub. They take it out in the English one, I believe.
Yeah.
Is it written on the boat? I forget.
It is written on the boat. Okay. You can see it not only in the episode, but this boat is in the ending credits.
Oh, wow. Okay. Oh, right. Yeah, it is. As they're speeding towards the ship, they notice behind them that there's just a huge bright light source that they can see all the way out from near the ship. And it is Chili Pepper powering up.
Akira Otoishi has said something I've been waiting for a JoJo villain to say so many times. Quote, I was too focused on my presentation and should have just gone in for the kill.
A lot of guys probably could have killed the JoJos by now if they had also thought that.
Dio would rule the world right now if he had just killed Polnareff instead of just fucking with him for a second.
Yes, absolutely. Just fucking with a guy in the stairs was his undoing. So yeah, Akira's going to serious mode as well, and he's using his ultimate technique, which is to draw out all of the power from Morio's power grid, which is causing a blackout across the entire city as he's doing this.
And all of the energy is going into Chili Pepper as he just grunts and glows with a more powerful aura. It's not the show where you usually get a power-up sequence like this, but
Yeah.
I'll allow it every once in a while.
Yeah. And yeah, you do see some shots of different areas in Moria where the power is starting to go out. Thankfully, it's daytime, so, not as big a deal or whatever. But I will come back to one of these shots much later on in the show, but there is a later character actually hanging out in the background of one of these shots. That's fun.
Okay. So it is time to deliver a direct beatdown, and something I appreciate about like the changing art styles is Josuke. I mean, pretty much all of our JoJos have been teenagers, but much like his friend, Josuke feels more like a teen.
Yeah,
like his like athlete's fit body rather than a Mr. Universe muscle hunk body.
Yeah.
He doesn't look like he can take the sort of beatings all of his predecessors can. So when he gets absolutely rocked and thrown into a forklift that explodes on impact,
Yeah.
I think he might be dead.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a little bit more tension with Josuke's fights compared to previous ones, because it's like, even though
I'm
he's
pretty sure Jonathan could eat a forklift. I'm not worried about him.
Yeah, he could just pick up a forklift and just like crunch it into a little ball and throw it through a basketball hoop if they had basketball back then. So yeah, Josuke's pretty fucked up, completely exploded a forklift he got punched into. Chili Pepper is looming over him, getting ready to like deal a killing blow. But as he's going in for that, whoop, Josuke does Josuke's trick. Here it comes. One of the tires that got destroyed by... One of the tires of the forklift that got just like utterly annihilated is reforming around Chili Pepper and completely enclosing around him.
A thick rubber insulator to trap the electric beast. Meanwhile, Koichi, you could be just like stepping on that plane, just like smash it.
Yeah.
Any second now, buddy. Like
Echoes could have just put, while Akira was distracted, like a big sound effect on the ground right where Akira was about to take his next step and just like launch him into the water or something. Give him another whoosh.
Just like right kaboom on the wings.
Yeah.
So as soon as, Chili Pepper goes inside, it blows up.
I think Koichi's just too in awe of the bigger guys fighting to realize that he can fight. He's still learning.
But everybody is learning right now, learning about the capabilities of a supercharged Chili Pepper, because, you think all this rubber insulation is going to stop me? No. I'm going to use my super sharp little grabby talon claws to shove my way out and emerge, and then oh no.
Yeah, punching through the tire has also, caused the air in the tire to leak out, and it just rockets Chili Pepper, still mostly submerged in the tire, out into the water. And it's salt water, and so Koichi's just like, oh my god, the salt water is a conductor, and so yeah, Chili Pepper starts to like dissolve and melt as he spreads out across the water.
Yeah, as his electric charge dissipates throughout the entire Pacific Ocean through this bay, the stand itself dissolves into just gooey chunks. It's gross.
Yeah. His head splits in two, yeah. And so they watch Chili Pepper dissolve, and then they look over at Akira like, oh, wait, what happened to him? And he's still holding onto his guitar, but he's kind of bent over, just frozen, and he's sizzling. He's smoking.
Yeah, I guess they figure he is about to dissolve himself, and they don't want to look at him, so they turn away because that's super gross. Never did learn anything about the arrow, though. Oh well.
Yeah.
At least you have a name, so you can like go to his house. Whatever.
Yeah. Now that Akira is seemingly defeated, we go back over to the ship that Jotaro and Okuyasu are now on, along with Joseph. And Echoes floats over to tell Jotaro, like, hey, we beat up Akira. But Echoes is Act 1 again?
Yeah, I was gonna ask, does he have to pupate in every fight to be Act 2 Echoes?
So I think this was a fuck up.
Okay.
Because when I saw this, I was like, wait, later on, do they establish that like he can switch between the different forms willingly or something like that? But no, I'm pretty sure once his stand evolves, it's just supposed to stay that way and it can't go back. So I think they just drew the wrong Echoes. Oops.
Do you think this is like an Iraqi fuck up that got replicated, or like a anime fuck up?
I don't know. I it's been a long time since I actually read part 4, so I'd have to go back and check.
Anyway, it's little Bug, not little Zoc.
Yeah.
That shows up and is like, hey, we kicked his ass.
All right. And so yeah, everyone's relieved. Everyone can rest easy, and Okuyasu is standing guard in the room where we're in the cabin where Joseph is hanging out.
And now we get some comedy about hearing loss in old age. Everyone's favorite joke.
Oh, yeah.
Okuyasu is trying to introduce himself to a somewhat hard of hearing Joseph. I mean, maybe if he took the big fluffy hat off from over his ears.
Yeah, so Joseph is dressed... he's dressed like he's ready for a long outing, like during the winter. You know, like a sweater, a big winter coat, gloves, scarf, big like warm hat with the ear flaps and everything. I think he's just cold all the time because he's old, but...
So Okuyasu tries to introduce himself and say that he's a stand user, and in what is honestly a great illustration of the problem of matching lip flaps.
Yes.
The homophone, what's that? I didn't quite hear you joke in the subtitles is, you're a sand cruiser? And in the dub, it's, you're a secondhand computer?
Yeah.
That's a lot more syllables.
It sure is.
This episode and the next we're talking about today, it's kind of impossible to tell what's real and what's Joseph fucking with people for laughs, because that's exactly what he'd do.
Yeah. Well, Joseph does seem senile. Within this same scene, after doing the whole hard hearing thing, he immediately, he switches over to like actually being serious and asking Okuyasu, like, "Hey, has Josuke ever, has he ever mentioned me? Has he said anything about me?" And Okuyasu just like, "No, not really. I haven't heard anything."
Which is disappointing.
Yeah.
He is very let down, but he does like sort of pick himself up and rationalize, it's, what could Josuke say? How can he talk about something he doesn't know,
Yeah.
So that's what he tells himself. But meanwhile, who is that lurking in the background? There is Akira Otoishi in loser clothes, like dressing like the man, not the rock god he is.
Yeah, disguised as a Speedwagon guy.
With his big blue scar streaking down his face. That's a pretty cool... That's a pretty cool thing we didn't mention earlier, but he's got one.
Yeah. So yeah, he's kind of looming in the background, and we cut back over to the dock where Koichi and Josuke are waiting for the boat to dock, and Josuke is sitting down on like one of those little pylons or whatever that you tie rope to when you tie a boat down to it. So Josuke's sitting down and Koichi's standing up next to him, and Josuke's sitting down is as tall as Koichi is standing up. He's so little.
But Josuke is just laying out all of his complicated and anxious feelings about this meeting, about finally meeting the father he never knew he had in anything more than like a logical, babies come from somewhere kind of sense. Mm-hmm. And like, is he a stranger? How am I supposed to treat him like my father? Is he even in any real sense? And what does this mean for mom? And Koichi's like, damn, dog, that's heavy.
Yeah. While Koichi was just being Krillin, now he's picking up a little bit of the Speedwagon duties of basically just being next to a Joestar and going like, man, the burden they carry is so heavy, dude.
At least he's not weeping about this. At least not yet.
Yeah, Koichi could keep his composure together a little better than any Speedwagon ever could. They were dramatic bitches.
So back on the boat, Okuyasu is in the room with Joseph and Chili Peppers user. He doesn't know that second part yet until another like actual Speedwagon guy comes in and is like, "Hey, who the fuck are you?" And then Akira's like, "I'm a real guy. Who the fuck are you?" And Okuyasu is going to get Bugs Bunnied. He has to figure out whether it is rabbit or duck season. And each of these two people are calling out the other as, the danger, the interloper. And he doesn't know what to do. If he punches the wrong guy, his best friend's dad gets murdered right in front of him. And he can't deal with that right now. He's got midterms, goddammit.
Yeah, and like while he's trying to decide which guy to punch as they're both pointing at each other as the other person to be the one that needs to be punched.
And we know thinking through bluffs is his weak point.
Yeah.
It has happened before.
Yeah. As he's trying to decide who to punch, we can see via a light on the wall right behind Joseph, Chili Pepper is emerging from it, and he's all fucked up, and he's got like...
His bones are showing, his stand bones.
Yeah,
we know stands have lungs. Now we know they have bones sometimes.
Yeah, it's like you're seeing the underlying structure of a robot.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's all skeletal and patchwork. It's a gross stand.
Yeah.
But Okuyasu shocks everybody by doing a brain good. He immediately leaps and punches Akira Otoishi in the jaw and lays him out.
Yeah.
I mean, he could have just swiped Joseph out of the way using the hand, but this is fine. This is better, actually.
And teleporting an old person several feet in one direction might jostle the organs in a bad way or something. I don't know. I mean, Joseph is still huge, though. He could probably take it. But so yeah, Akira gets laid out. He gets bounced off the wall. He
collapses into a bowl of fruit.
Yeah, a bountiful bowl of fruit. There's a lot in there.
Oh, you think Speedwagon Foundation doesn't have a fruit budget? Come on. They love this guy. It's Joseph. They love him.
Yeah, it's that the combination of that Speedwagon oil tycoon money and that real estate money. They're swimming in it.
Josuke, 1/3 of this is all yours. Take this peach and banana.
Probably a lot of government funding too, honestly. So yeah, the stand dissipates again. Okuyasu does a cool pose, and he's like, "Never mess with me again."
He defeated his brother's killer. Yes.
And Akira's just like, "How the fuck did you know? You gotta tell me." And Okuyasu just says, "I was just gonna beat the shit out of both of you."
I'm dumb, you see. Best line. I love it.
So everyone's safe and sound. Akira is getting arrested. And we see, in a moment I really like.
Yeah.
Joseph is walking off the boat, and he sees Josuke for the first time, and it's real awkward.
It is important to note that his cane that he was so concerned with, that he walks with, was snapped in the fight.
Yeah.
When Akira got KO'd.
Yeah. And so he's walking, holding the halves of his cane. He takes a few more steps. He trips and almost falls, and Josuke grabs him and saves him from the fall. Josuke is like never looking at or making any sort of eye contact with Joseph. He just can't handle it right now. He's just kind of looking off into the middle distance, and he tells Joseph, like, well, if your cane's broken, here, just hold my hand and, I'll lead you to the car.
When everyone here knows he could fix the cane with a thought, and he would, but he chose it. My heart.
Yeah, it's really good, right?
And then Okuyasu makes that same point, and Koichi's like, "Shut the fuck up, man! It's about feelings."
Yeah, this is the part where he starts to speedwagon a bit because Koichi starts vibrating and shaking. He's got tears welling up, but he's just so happy. He's overjoyed to see that Josuke and Joseph might actually form a bond or something.
This is especially affecting to me.
Oh.
The age gap between my dad and I is a lot closer. I mean, not quite Josuke's, but closer to that than say closer to you and your dad.
Yeah.
And he is a disabled person. Like he is no longer able to live alone, and just the idea that we could wind back the clock a little bit, and if I could help him walk, if he could still walk at all. This was rough on me.
Oh, yeah. This moment is surprisingly, well done. Like, the first time I watched this episode, too, it got to me. And also, man, what a good... this is one of the few things in JoJo that feels like it was super planned out.
Yeah.
The way this relationship ties into, Josuke's stand power and him choosing not to use it. Man, it's good.
Oh,
right?
But of course, we have a button. There's always a button, especially on a plot important episode like this one. So they're like, hey, Chili Pepper's gone. That's good. The bow and arrow are just waiting to be collected, and we can take care of that. And then this town will be safe again.
Phew.
Says one of our JoJos as we fade to a disembodied hand in a shower.
Yeah, another woman's hand appearing to at first be resting on a tub, and then it's.
It is. It just ain't attached to the whole rest of the lady.
Yeah, another man, a man's hand who is in the shower comes and just picks up the hand, and it's what's going on there? But that is the end of Chili Pepper Part 2, which leads us to Episode 13. We picked up something crazy.
This one starts right with the OP for once, no cold open.
Yep.
So the actual opening then is our morning radio DJ reading out a letter from languishing lonesome boy, complaining about being ghosted after he proposed too soon to his girlfriend.
Ah, shit.
Anyway, Jotaro has the arrow, so that's that. See y'all in Part 5? I don't know.
Yeah, they got the bow and arrow nice and easy because it was just being stashed in Akira's apartment. It wasn't hidden. It was just it was just there.
Along with millions of dollars of other shit, he has made a small fortune in stand-based burglary.
Yeah. And we also see a brief flashback where Akira is in Speedwagon jail, I suppose, or just normal jail. I don't know. But Jotaro is just pointing at Akira in his cell, just saying like, hey, never fucking use your stand again or we're going to beat the living shit out of you. And Akira's just like in a fetal position in the corner of the jail cell, like, don't beat me up, please. And that's that for Akira. He's done for.
The bow and arrow are ready to be shipped off to the Speedwagon Foundation for further research. Mm-hmm. Everyone is very trusting. They have no... They have no hesitation about putting all their faith in this organization. Sure, whatever, okay.
You know, the loyalty to the JoJos is...
I mean, it's a two-way street, I guess, yeah.
I'm just imagining that the number one, like, rule or thing you must follow as part of the Speedwagon Foundation is to be loyal to the JoJos. Mm-hmm, like, it's the will of Speedwagon is so strong, it pervades into every single employee.
The JoJos and the Foundation will do anything for one another, no questions asked.
Yeah.
Maybe we should be asking some questions. That's all I'm saying. Maybe we should be asking some questions.
Yeah. Although I am surprised, I don't know, maybe it is a difference in style of writing and stuff. But I feel like if JoJo were an American or Western authored comic, at some point there would be a part in JoJo where the Speedwagon Foundation becomes the villainous organization with too much oversight over our heroes and stuff.
Robert E.O. is cold and dead. It has been a while.
Yeah.
Who is looking at these books and saying like, yeah, we can spend unlimited money on what this one family in and around Japan does?
Yeah, I don't know. But I mean, as of Part 5, which is as far as I've gone, the Speedwagon Foundation, they're just cool. They're just cool.
They have Santana in a briefcase. They're not cool. They're dangerous.
God, yeah. Every part, I'm just waiting for Santana to bust out of that case. Hasn't happened yet, but it could.
And then Avdol emerges from the void to take him down. Yes.
Fuck yes. Yeah, man. I want to see this happen. So yeah, everyone is going over, what has happened to Akira and the bow and arrow and all this at the cafe that Koichi was at a few episodes ago.
It is the cafe. People like to hang at this cafe.
Yeah.
But in a separate table, the next table over, all alone, this is how you know he's not himself anymore. Joseph Joestar loves Japanese coffee.
Yeah.
He can't get enough. He sends his compliments to the coffee chef.
Yeah, it's
heartbreaking.
Yep. And Jotaro is letting everyone know that, like, hey, we took care of Akira. We've got the bow and arrow, but Akira was shooting other people with the arrow to make them stand users to defend himself. So there still might be a few out there. So, keep your eyes peeled for any leftover stand users trying to fuck stuff up.
I mean, plus all of Keicho's guys. Like, he was intentionally shooting awful people so they would have stronger powers.
Yeah.
What? Yukiko, though? He just had an inkling that she had potential.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe he just got bored one day and was just firing randomly. Like, none of these people, all these people keep dying. Yeah.
You could go happen to be standing next to some sort of like serial killer.
Yeah, the arrow ricocheted and went into her instead or something. But yeah, it's almost time for the bus to show up. So Josuke is taking Joseph along with him, basically to see his mom.
While Koichi is very worried about, their family bonds, while Okuyasu wants to eat more breakfast cake.
He loves cake. That's all he's thinking about.
So Josuke calls home, which is apparently very suspicious. He does not do this. When his mom picks up, she's like, "What? Why are you calling home? What is this all about, sonny boy?" But he wants to make sure that she's going to be home all day. Got to confirm the schedule.
Yeah.
And the rest of this episode is just father and son adventure, basically. And it all plays on this sort of dramatic irony where Josuke sees Joseph as this goofy inconvenience.
Yeah.
Where the viewer sees Joseph as like the shadow of like this 2-time world-saving great hero.
Yeah. Josuke was using the payphone and Joseph was waiting outside. And then eventually he just kind of wanders off on his own to go to the bus stop ahead of time. And Josuke's just like, I told you're supposed to stay right here, not cross the road on your own, but okay. And it's just like, we're going to stay here and we're going to wait for the bus. Josuke is trying to lay down the rules about how this interaction with his mom is going to go. I don't want you to do this or that because it's going to cause a whole lot of drama, and I don't even really want to do this anyways. And then once we're done,
he's laying out a lot of boundaries, including I'm only going to call you Mr. Joestar. Yeah,
we're basically, until today, we've basically been strangers. We don't really have any of the bonds required to consider each other father and son. And he also tells Joseph, like, hey, after you see my mom, I want you to leave and go back home, and that'll be the end of this relationship.
And Joseph's like, I get it. Oh, that's fair. We're taking the bus. Okay, bye. I'm on the bus. Oh no, it's the wrong bus.
Oh no, it's the wrong bus. It's going to take him like to an entirely different city. He was about to get in the highway.
Maybe be more specific next time. He's not from here. He does not know the buses.
Yeah. I don't think at this point Joseph has learned any more about Japan than he knew back in Stardust Crusaders. So
we're waiting at the bus stop for the bus. Bus comes, I get on the bus. This is perfectly logical.
Yeah. Come on, Josuke. So, yeah, Josuke's able to somehow catch up to this bus and get Joseph off before he just gets taken to the other side of Japan, basically.
And he's freaking out because this burden of a man has screwed up his whole day, and now that they gotta, like, hitchhike back, or who knows how they're gonna get back on schedule. Meanwhile, sidewalk is haunted. Haunted sidewalk.
Yep. There's an invisible force tugging on Joseph's pants. And he's just like, what the fuck is this? And then he's
just pulling at the hem of his pants cuffs.
Yeah. And then his cane gets hit by something and gets knocked over. And he hears like a weird noise. And he just keeps telling Josuke, like, hey, I think there's a stand user here. And Joseph is being a little turd and going like, yeah, it's the two of us. What about it? And Joseph is like looking at the dirt to the side of the sidewalk and noticing tiny little baby handprints are forming on the dirt.
Yeah. Like someone's stand is an invisible baby, and Josuke just says to himself, "Yep, there's no way in hell I'm letting him see mom now."
Yeah,
this dude's a fucking freak.
And Joseph is just constantly going like, "No, there's fucking something right there," and pointing at the ground. But whatever is forming the little baby handprints has crawled onto the sidewalk, so Joseph can't track it anymore. And meanwhile, the hungriest, most evil-looking dog in JoJo, just insane, looks like a serial killer.
Of all the dogs to not be harmed.
Yeah, it's this one. But this dog is sniffing around, and it smells whatever this invisible thing is, and it lunges in to take a big bite out of it. But Joseph saves whatever this thing is by wrapping Hermit Purple around it, still knows how to use a stand, and he pulls it over into his hands, and it's an invisible baby!
I mean, maybe it's an invisible baby, or maybe he became an expert mime in the last 11 years. You can't count anything out with this guy.
It's true, yeah. What has he been doing since Stardust Crusaders? Mime. miming. He had nowhere else left to go.
Something big is going to be on the line, and then he's going to fill a glass full of scotch and be like, all right, you know the drill.
Yeah. I mean, it's like all of his stupid magic tricks worked out pretty well in the Pillar Men. So it's, if there's another like godly force locked somewhere deep underneath the earth, maybe mimicry, maybe mime shit will fuck him up. You do the thing where you pretend that you're like stuck in a glass cube, and then you act like you put it over top the villain, and they're like, fuck, I'm trapped.
That would have worked on Wamu. Absolutely.
Yeah, it would. It would. Oh, man.
So anyway, we need to call up Jotaro on the phone. We need 3 men for this baby, but instead, it is just the 2.
Yep.
Now Josuke is convinced there is indeed an invisible baby, a baby which is invisible, in the hands of his father.
And Josuke is just like, okay, is there a fucking stand user around that makes stuff invisible? Who makes a baby invisible? And Joseph goes, no, I think this baby is the stand user. Mm-hmm. And it's so young, it doesn't know how to use its stand, and so it's just turning itself invisible on accident.
Baby got upset, somehow turned invisible, started wandering around the countryside.
Yeah, how long has this baby been crawling for, I wonder?
This sidewalk is so far from everything. There's no houses in the background. This is a desolate plain.
This is just a sidewalk by an interstate out in the countryside. Like,
was the baby on the bus? Is this baby in the middle of a Mindy and Buttons situation? What happened here?
Baby just fell out a car window? I don't know. But this baby is invisible.
This is Invisible Baby's Day Out.
Yeah.
So they determined some things about this baby. This is a little girl baby, and it's a little girl baby that did a poop.
Yep.
An invisible poop in the beloved hands of Joseph Joestar.
Yeah, and it's this is no good.
Quote, I had no idea she did it until I got a nose full of nasty.
Yeah.
And he's especially upset because he's been touching his mustache and beard with his beloved hands.
Yep, he's got
and
poop
he's
beard.
not sure if there's invisible poop in his beard or not.
Mm-hmm.
It's very bad.
Ugh. So we cut over back into Morio. We start this scene by like another restaurant or cafe, and we see that there's 2 people sitting at a table. We can't really see the other person that well.
Yes, this conspicuously hidden person is meeting with their literary agent, I guess.
Yeah.
Because their manuscript is being returned with some notes from the publisher.
Yeah.
Will that be followed up on? Not in this episode.
Not in this episode, but it's there. Because in the background, Josuke and Joseph are walking around looking for a place to buy some diapers, some milk, and all this stuff. And they got this invisible baby wrapped up in like a teeny tiny little blanket, but it's just a blanket.
It is a hollow blanket.
Yeah.
And they come upon a baby store, a store for baby-related goods.
Family club
With stuff for the whole family, it turns out, but I'm a few minutes ahead of myself. Joseph is going to go baby shopping to protect Josuke's image.
Yeah. Josuke really doesn't want anyone to think he's knocked up a teenage girl.
And this is another thing where he feels believably teenage. Like, he is not a schemer, so he doesn't even think of saying, like, oh, it's for a cousin or a family friend, or I'm buying a gift for someone who's expecting.
Yeah.
None of that. He just thinks he's so worried about looking cool and wanting to get away from this old guy he doesn't like very much. That he's just, no, you do it. Go.
Yeah, I cannot be seen with a baby within my proximity. And Joseph's just like, well, all I got are American dollars and traveler's checks, so I can't buy this shit. And so Josuke gives Joseph his credit card, which is, I want a credit card that looks like this. I want a JoJo card.
Hell, you could go in together.
Yeah.
All you got to do is, like, take the baby out of the blanket if you're worried about a hollow blanket raising questions.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's warm inside. It's fine.
Yeah, Joseph takes Josuke's credit card and goes in. And this upcoming scene feels like this was written soon after Araki had a child.
Yes, yes. Or had a very bad experience shopping for a baby shower or something.
Yeah, yeah. So Joseph goes into Family Club and is
And he
greeted.
finds the tiniest shopkeeper.
Yeah, very small man.
Apparently Koichi beat his ass or something, because that's where we get tiny people. I don't know.
Yeah. And so Joseph's just like, hey, I need diapers. And so this guy goes, okay, follow me. Here's some diapers, and they're adult diapers.
Yeah, I don't know what kind of... I've been to a few baby stores in my time. None of them sold incontinence supplies.
Yeah, this is a
Myth
one-stop...
busted. Fuck this.
This is a one-stop shop. This is a weird place to go. But it's like, no, I need diapers for baby, not me. I'm a man, and...
So we get basically an extended comedy scene where over and over again, every time Joseph needs a simple thing, the shop owner will lay out every single option they have and all of their pros and cons, and not really provide advice on what's important or like best. He'll just leave all the options out until Joseph gets like frustrated and flustered and just like, okay, fine, one of everything. He does this for clothes, for diapers, for bottles and bottle supplies and formula. Everything. Like, this is not a helpful customer service representative. This is a talking catalog, and I'm sick of it, and I hate him.
Yeah, he sucks. Also, I should mention that when he's like describing all the different types of diapers there are, one of the brands of diapers has Stimpy on it. It's just Stimpy. So yeah, Joseph ends up buying a fuckload of stuff. He spends like something like over 100,000 yen, which is like, even in 90s money, over $1,000 in US dollars, I think.
I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't be as indulgent an uncle as I am, but that's not so much.
Babies need a lot of stuff.
Considering the amount he carries out, like, per object, like, I've never spent $1,000 in one go on baby stuff, but I bet if I did spend $1,000 in one go on baby stuff, I'd be carrying out less bags than he does.
Yeah, he comes out with a mountain of stuff in a baby stroller. They take the baby, they take all this crap they bought, and they go out to a little park bench to get the baby dressed. And so now we got a baby in clothes.
While Joseph is in there, though, Josuke's groupies go by, and he's very embarrassed to be seen outside the baby store that sells incontinence supplies.
That's right.
And they are chatting about the radio caller from the very top of the episode.
Oh, yeah.
They have opinions on how to propose and how to ghost people.
I always forget how much the radio show comes up in the background, both in conversations and otherwise, and that's a fun detail. But yeah, they're getting the baby in clothes and stuff. And of course, now we just have baby-shaped moving clothes, but with no visible baby in it.
Yes.
So they got to fix that. And so also at the baby/incontinence store, you can buy makeup.
It's gear for the whole family. Like, the name is accurate.
Yeah. And so Joseph...
I don't think you're supposed to put a foundation on your baby.
I don't think, that might not be great for them. So yeah,
we eventually get to eyeliner and lipstick. My God.
Joseph's very, like... He's having fun with this part because, we got to be able to see the baby's face. So you put foundation and makeup on the baby so you can see his facial features and like, oh, it's a cute baby. Hooray.
And they say that now that we can see the baby's features by, like, painting it with makeup, and like, oh boy, this is heavy. This is thick. This is that's not makeup. That's a mask you're making.
Yeah.
But they say that, oh, this will help us find the mother, because now we know what the baby looks like. Bullshit. All babies look the same.
There's basically 3 different ways your baby can look.
Except your baby, which looks like a nightmare. It's just like a floating mask in the air. It's horrifying.
Yeah. So like, because they got makeup on the baby, but when it opens, its eyes are open or its mouth is open, you just see straight through it because you can't put makeup on those parts. And so Joseph is just like, okay, well, we can't have people seeing straight through your skull, so let's just put some big sunglasses on your face. There you go.
This baby looks like a freakish porcelain mask floating in midair above baby clothes. It's bad. It's very bad. And then the baby explodes.
yeah, Joseph picks up the baby and says, like, there we go. You know, this is turning out pretty okay. Oh, wait a minute. The makeup doesn't seem to be staying on. And yeah, the baby blows up and turns invisible. And so do Joseph's hands.
When I say the baby explodes, I mean, like, there is a flash of lighting effects, and so the clothes which had begun to fade into invisibility are now entirely just as transparent as the air around them, and yes, so are Joseph's hands. Everything within a certain radius of the baby is equally invisible.
Yeah, and Josuke is just like, yo, you got to put that baby down. You're going to turn invisible, Dad.
No, he does not give a mindful warning to set the baby down. He says, quote, Mr. Joestar, drop the baby.
Right.
Let go of it, damn it.
And so Joseph sets the baby down in the stroller.
Josuke is a bad babysitter. Do not pay him. Do not let him watch your baby.
If you paid Josuke to babysit your kid, he would just like wait 10 minutes until the parents are definitely gone, and then he would just like turn the TV on, give the kids the N64 and say like, okay, see you later, and just like leave.
And then he'd show up 10 minutes before the parents arrive and punch the baby, but with a special good punch.
Yeah.
Fix him up real good.
Yeah, just tell maybe some kids would like Josuke as a babysitter because he just tells them to go ape shit and break whatever they want because he could just fix it later.
Hey, you want to jump off the roof? Cool. Do it 5 times.
All right.
I don't give a fuck.
You want to do backyard wrestling? Works good for me.
With knives?
Yeah. Look, just as long as you don't destroy the brain, I can fix this. Don't do anything that instantly kills you. So yeah, the baby's been set in the stroller,
which has begun to disappear. Like,
yeah.
In the same way that, like, the orb of vanilla ice and cream just made holes in the world, just chunks missing. It looks like that happened to the stroller, except it does not collapse in a heap because those parts are still there, just invisible.
Yeah, so you're just seeing random parts kind of just floating in midair, which looks pretty cool and must have been a bitch to draw.
Yeah, like the handles, the wheels, the extremities of the stroller.
As they're like, oh shit, even more stuff's becoming invisible. Some asshole on a bike rides by who's smoking a cigarette, and he looks at this weird half-invisible baby stroller and thinks, what's that pile of junk? I don't know. And he flicks his still-lit cigarette towards it.
At a baby!
Like,
he doesn't know, but he does. He does do that.
Yeah, and so Joseph sees this happening. He dives to deflect the cigarette from hitting the baby, but in doing so, just barely jostles the stroller enough that it starts careening down an incredibly steep hill.
Which frightens the baby, which makes its stand ability go even higher into overdrive. So the stroller is completely disappeared, and then a widening bubble of everything down this hill disappears. So you're seeing like chunks carved out of trees, or a huge trough gouged into the ground. And again, that dirt is still there, like Josuke walks on it, but you're seeing beneath the invisible ground.
Yeah.
So it is as if the ground is missing.
Yeah, it looks cool.
It's a very good effect.
But, they can no longer see the stroller, but they can hear the baby crying and going down this hill. And then they hear the stroller crash, and they're like, oh shit. And then they hear the baby splash into water, into a river, and they go, oh, shit.
Again, like I said at the top of episode 13, that sort of dramatic irony is coming in a big way, because we are seeing Joseph as a familiar guy doing his best on a bad day. Like, we always trust Joseph to have an ace up his sleeve. He's going to make this right. Just give him a chance. While Josuke sees a bumbling old fool who may have just killed a baby.
Yeah.
He may have just murdered a baby outright through negligence. So
they get to this river. Joseph really wants to help, and Josuke is so frustrated with this old man, and he just tells him to just fucking stay out of this. I'll fix it. You are just constantly making things worse, which you can tell hits Joseph hard. Like it hurts.
So Josuke dives in. He's going to do this solo, find the invisible thing in the clear water. So he's just like standing in the middle of this body of water, just swinging his arms around, hoping to brush against something squishy and baby shaped. And it's not working. He is not covering a very large, percentage of the available space.
Joseph gets into the river and he tells Josuke, like, hey, please make sure to tell your mother that I said hello. I've lived a long life, but I've got to do this to try and save this baby. And he pulls out a pocket knife and he slits his wrist to have his blood add color to this river.
Didn't even think of using Hermit Purple, did you? Either as like a way to find the baby or just like sending vines out, like much like Josuke's arms, but with much greater reach. Didn't even cross your mind, huh?
Right.
Huh?
No, yeah, straight to the slitting the wrist thing. The blood, his blood flows into the river, and eventually you see where the blood is. There's a part where the blood is kind of almost like curving around a spherical object, which is where the baby is. And so,
not that the blood isn't there, but that the blood becomes transparent right there.
Yeah. The baby is lifted out of the water almost like it is... the way it's lifted out of the water in Crazy Diamond's hands almost makes the baby appear as if it's a holy figure or something.
Yeah, absolutely. It is lofted toward heaven like Renaissance art. Yes. Yeah. But how you read this scene in Joseph's act rests entirely on whether you think he knows about Crazy Diamond's ability or not. Mm-hmm. Totally different takes depending on what he knows about Josuke's abilities.
Yeah. The baby is saved, and Josuke is like in shock that this old man was willing to, go this far to save a baby or a person that he never knew or met until just a few hours ago. And this really impresses him.
This selfless act of heroism, not only at personal cost, perhaps at the cost of his own life, is like, yeah, okay, you just might be a guy I want to get to know. And as Joseph drifts toward unconsciousness, he looks up at his son, like cradling him in his arms, and says, I just wanted to look cool. Did it work?
Yeah. I just wanted to look cool for you. That's great.
So we get our second title card of the episode. Earlier, around the midpoint, it was a Crazy Diamond, and now it is Hermit Purple. They are joined sort of metatextually as well. And now we see elderly Joseph, his character design silhouette for the first time in this venue, at least.
And we get a little ending button on this episode too. It's nighttime at Josuke's house.
He's changing clothes. He's taking off his uniform for the first time ever on camera.
Yeah, it's first
which
time
means it's also our first look at his Joestar birthmark.
Oh right, yeah, you see that in this scene. I like that. But yeah, as he's changing clothes and stuff, he notices that in his pocket, his credit card and the receipt from Family Club are there, and he unravels an incredibly long receipt to see that his dad just spent over $1,000 of his money, and he shouts to the heavens as the camera cuts on the final shot where we see that Jotaro and Joseph and the invisible baby are all hanging out in another room.
I guess they adopted that baby. That baby is fifth JoJo.
Yeah, and that is the end of the episode. I want to bring up real quickly, I like that the music, like the triumphant music that's playing as Josuke realizes that, hey, maybe my dad is somebody worth knowing, right? The end there. That's the same music that plays in the very final scene of Stardust Crusaders.
Oh.
Yeah. The triumphant music that plays when Joseph and Jotaro are flying back home. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that is the end of episode 13.
And we are now exactly 1/3 of the way through Diamond is Unbreakable.
Because next week we'll have a guest on to talk about this first third. Part 4 is also a little different in that there is like a main central antagonist, but we've still yet to meet them. Like the show spends a lot of time like winding up to that.
I mean, I gotta guess it's Handman.
Yeah, Handman.
Handman is the very opening thing of the first episode. Handman reasserts himself once you get rid of Chili Pepper and the whole I mean, the arrow is gone. The arrow is off the table.
Yeah.
So between that ending and Joseph re-entering the narrative for the third time, this is a big turning point, and having those things placed together at the exact 1/3 point is, I mean, it's textbook pacing, I guess.
Yeah. But yeah, I like these 2 episodes back to back as being kind of a, like the main thrust of it really is the relationship between Josuke and Joseph, which I like.
Mm-hmm.
I also enjoy the use of Joseph in this part because it feels very different from, the previous 2 that he was heavily featured in. I'm curious what you think of Chili Pepper Part 1 now that you've seen Part 2 as well.
The thing that I asked for at the end of last week's episode,
Yeah.
I did get, not directly, not word for word. I think the part of it that I would have really appreciated is something about Josuke saying that he appreciates Koichi being there for Okuyasu when, he is emotionally unavailable for other reasons. I think that would have been a very powerful moment that in in part 4.44, my version, that's going to be in there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think the first third of Diamond Unbreakable is pretty solid. It's pretty good. I feel like, especially when you look at like the same stretch of episodes for like Stardust Crusaders, I feel like in the same amount of time, Part 4 manages to cover more stuff, more ground in the same amount of time.
The Hanged Man really would be the parallel point, even if it's not in minutes of animation, but as the turning point.
Yeah,
we've had a very different and more cohesive journey through 13 episodes than say Stardust Crusader did in 11, which is Hanged Man Part 2. Empress episode 12 kind of would be a match because it's the comedy one about Joseph after the big turning point.
Yeah, I guess there is something similar between 3 and 4 there, huh? Also, both comedy episodes that are like kind of concerned and worried about getting old. Yeah.
But when Stardust Crusaders assembles a cast, it assembles a cast, and then they go on their way. Whereas Diamond Does Unbreakable does so much to develop the cast. Like, we don't just fight Okuyasu, and then he's like, you're cool guys, I'm with you. We have a 3-part episode where Okuyasu has to deal with coming to accept what he's known in his heart, that his brother is not a very good guy at the end of the day, despite how much he loves him.
Yeah. I guess with Okuyasu, we also kind of get a similar closure to his story in the same way we get with Polnareff and Hanged Man. Because he's kind of... Okuyasu's gotten his revenge, although with a lot less murder involved. He just threw the guy in jail.
No one... aside from whatever's happening to these women missing their hands, but no one has died since Keicho.
Yeah, no one's died. Yeah. Some people have definitely gotten hurt very badly, but no one's died.
People fucked up, but no one has died since Keicho.
Wow. I'm so used to people just getting so fucked up in JoJo that in my mind, I thought people still had died. Yeah, I guess that is kind of something a little different tonally with Part 4, too. There's just a lot less people dying overall, I guess. I mean, there's still some episodes where people have their dog's face bitten off and then spat into their face and then their head gets exploded.
Oh yeah. I mean, when Angelo was still around, it was still a very death heavy part, but that's only 2 episodes. Ever since then,
yeah. I'm really excited for the next third when we start off with episode 14 in 2 weeks. That 2-parter, real excited for that one. That one's got a real fun everything in it. Characters, really fun stand power that if you think about it even slightly too much, you realize this person might just be God.
Well, don't worry. Thinking too much has never been a problem for these heroes. Just for comparison, while we are comparing parts, 13 episodes is obviously longer than Part 1 ever got. And in Battle Tendency, that would bring us to the episode that ends with Lisa's death and cars becoming supercars.
Supercars. It's still very fun to just randomly think about the ending of Part 2 and the part where the Nazis get devoured by an evil squirrel. I love that part. Squirrel incoming. But yeah, I think that's it from me until we get to the recap next week.
Very, very excited for that one to come at people. I'm looking forward to it. I have a lot to. I have things to say. I've been squirreling them away in a little hole to spring on everybody. So I'm excited for that.
Cool.
And if you've been enjoying this, and I'm sure you have, please tell somebody about it. We've got. Why not brighten some of these midwinter December days by sharing the joy of JoJo, the least deadly season of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
Merry Christmas.
We had a dog and nothing happened to that dog.
The dog
It tried
was
to eat
fine.
a baby a little bit, but it was fine.
And we had a dog last week that while it exploded, it was fine.
It made it better. It made its tummy, it gave the puppy a happy tummy. Happy enough you could scratch it and it'd like curl up next to you and be like, yeah.
It's just that easy. Just blow up a dog and it'll be fine.
Yeah, that also is what happens when Josuke dog sits for people.
Does Araki know that he's always focusing on maiming dogs for when, like...
Oh, he's gotta know.
He's gotta know, right?
Gotta know.
Like, it's just a thing like, okay, well, here's the time the dog explodes. Here's the time the dog gets its face bitten off. God damn.
Yeah, that's really the last time a dog was permanently harmed.
Yeah.
I mean, so far. It'll happen again, I'm sure. But boy, it's a contender for one of the worst.
Yeah. That one's just so bad because it's also insult to injury with spitting the dog blood into the owner's mouth. Like,
And that's why I always pick up after Moki.
yeah, there's just an Angelo just in the bushes somewhere.
In the back of my mind, like, not today. Not gonna get me today. All right, everybody. To be continued.
Later, everybody.